Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now this is the first video on my Cup of 2023. Last year I think I only uploaded 6 times. The promise to myself this year is that I will upload more content and share more stuff about this car with you guys. There's still loads that I can do to it to improve it, and there's actually quite a bit that I did last year to it that I just never shared with you. So hopefully this video will be a little update on what I've done to it, how that's improved the car and where we're going to go next with it. But as you can see, yep, sun strips, new addition and stuff, and cosmetically it looks largely the same, but yeah, we'll take a more in-depth look and I'm going to get inside because it's absolutely freezing out here despite it being a lovely morning. Okay, so back in the car, in the warm. Let's talk a little bit about what we've done. We'll start with the interior. As you can see behind me, there is no rear door cards, and that was because the car was stripped when I went on track. Whether or not that really saved any weight, by the time you've only removed the rear bench, which doesn't weigh a lot, the carpet in the boot and stuff, and it probably, the weight saving gain is negligible, but you know, it made the car a bit louder on track, I guess, made it a bit more raw, as it were, which I guess, yeah, you can take away from that what you want. I think long term, I'd like to strip the car completely, even the door cards, get some nice carbon fibre style ones, and yeah, strip the carpets, go all out as it were. But at the moment, as a daily driver, it just doesn't make sense to do that. It would be too much, it would be too loud for one thing, and just a bit too raw for me. So I'm really happy with the way it is at the minute. The steering wheel, so that was picked up from eBay, really cheap. These retail for over 200 quid normally, brand new. Granted, it's very worn. It looked like it'd been chucked into the back of someone's 197 track car when they were breaking it. But it's come up okay. It's very flatted back, so Alcantara should have a bit of a rough feel to it to help you grip it. This is more like leather now than Alcantara. But I think long term I probably will get it retrimmed. I just don't know what finish to go for. I'm kind of swaying towards a leather finish anyway to be more durable, but I just really like the Renault Sport in the middle. And obviously the Vedlana Tech harness as well. It's a really simple one. You can get really, you can get ones with multiple buttons on that kind of look quite cool race car-y and stuff. But I just went for a really simple horn either side of the steering wheel. And yeah, really happy with it overall. It completely changes the dynamic of the car. It's gone from feeling like a bus to drive to feeling like you know, a nimble little car. Obviously, being the main touch point of the car, the way you interact with the car, it's made a huge difference. So to everyone that suggested that, thank you. I should have done it way sooner. I wish I'd done it on my previous Cups as well. I certainly won't be going back to an OEM wheel now. And yeah, obviously the Scenic modified short shifter here, which is really close, so on track is, you know, quite nice. This needs tightening up though, the Scenic shifter. I think I need to get some brass bushes for the mechanism below the car, because at the moment it's very sort of loose. The gear changes are direct, like you don't miss gears. It feels a bit tired, and some of the cars that you drive, particularly Hondas, like they're very direct. You know, you can't really miss a gear. But anyway, that's something to address down the line. That's small improvements, incremental improvements. Whereas the bigger things that happened last year were probably the brakes on this car and the wishbones. So before, the car felt really indirect in the way it turned in and steered. So there would be like a latency between, or like some sort of barrier between your input and what the car would do. And it basically didn't inspire any confidence at all until I fitted some Black Series Powerflex bushes, and that's completely transformed the car. So as soon as we did that, my brother James helped me. We noticed, you know, the car is way more eager to turn in, far more poised. You feel way more confident because you can point the car where you want it to go, and you have confidence that it's going to go there. Whereas before, you can kind of turn right into a bend, and it felt like the wheels were going straight still, whereas you were still going. You wanted to go this way, and it kind of felt like it was doing that. So you had no real like point of reference. Black Series bushes have completely changed that. And on top of that, we went for some new brakes. Years ago, I brought a set of adapters to fit the 4-pot Megane 225 or 197 calipers to this car, and they were made of the wrong material. So years and years of use with them sat against the hub, meant that they'd started to degrade to the point where the metal, these brackets, custom brackets, were actually falling apart. So when I was driving the car, I was noticing a knocking noise, and we always thought that that was the wishbones, but it turns out that was actually the Brembo brackets, and they were to the point where I could have emergency stopped and the caliper may have actually sheared off the hub. They were that bad. I'll try and get some footage and overlay it here. I'm pretty sure I've got some, but that was pretty bad. So I went to Pure Motorsport and I got the kit. So I got the calipers are already machined down with the adapters for 280mm discs, and also you can't ever get 15-inch rims on 300mm discs. You do stand a chance still with these. The calipers would need to be machined down again on the actual, not the face, but the bit that internally, in the internal diameter of the wheel, they'd have to be machined down, and that is because otherwise they foul slightly, ever so slightly. It's like literally, we're talking millimeters, and that's something that I'm looking at doing in the future. Purely because it's cheaper to run 15-inch rims on the Clios. Like some people say they like the way these cars handle on 15-inch rims. Yeah, I've had 15-inch rims before. I tend to agree, but I think maybe I'd have to drive one of these back-to-back 15-inch, 16-inch to really notice a difference. Other than that, I tried to tidy up the engine bay. I've only just cleaned this car since October, admittedly, and I forgot to clean under the bonnet, so you're seeing everything, leaves and all right now, blowing around, but that's kind of the state that it's in. I got a new coolant expansion tank, not that you'd know it now. Tried to fit it up with the Renault Type D stuff so it looked all pretty. Got a new comb filter, Pro Ram, to put on because my other one was knackered. And then also some top mounts as well. So the top mounts kind of complement the new wishbones that have gone in, the new wishbone bushes. So overall the front end is a lot tighter and a lot more direct. And I noticed on track how eager this car is to turn in. You can't fault it for that. There's some things that I'd like to address in terms of trying to get back on the power coming out of the corner with the turbo. Just doesn't really happen. You have to really like build into it. You can't just stamp your foot down and go like you can in the Megane, and that's something that long term I'd like to address. And then an oil cooler as well. So the one thing that I don't like about this car is that it runs very hot with the turbo kit on track, incredibly hot, to the point that you feel like you can almost cook a roast dinner when you lift the bonnet up after a 15-minute session. And I was actually getting coolant temp surge on Snetterton on the back straight, which was not great, so I had to actually back off and leave it, about 100 in fifth, and just let the temperature cool down, because you could literally see the needle surging as I was flying down that straight. I fitted an oil cooler because I thought that would, help bring engine temps down, and I think overall it has. It's the kit from Engine Dynamics, and it's got the Mokel sandwich plate on it, thermostatic, so it's not always open until the car warms up, then it will open, and I think that has helped, only to a certain point. So yeah, I've been looking online and I need a new radiator. So that'll be the next modification, if you like, to the car, will be a new Dureza, I think it is, Dureza alloy rad, about £210, I believe, but worth it because, of course, it means that from what I've seen, I'll be able to drive the car flat out the entire time without having to worry about managing engine temps and whatnot, and also making sure the air's flowing directly into the engine bay with bits of, the plastic trim, the original plastic trim that does that. I think mine's missing, which means air could be coming through the front and then dissipating around the edges. So the next video will probably be a feature on a Saxo, VTS or VTR, can't quite remember. And then Josh, we're going to follow his Integra build throughout the year, with the ultimate goal is that I'll document the progress on this car, fitting stuff to it to make it better. There's a few rust issues that I'm going to address in probably the next video on this car, and then we'll go from there, with the ultimate goal of us all getting on track by May time this year, and me filming that, and we compare the cars. My friend Elliot's got a Megane 250 now instead of his 197, which was featured on the channel previously, so I'll be doing a review on that. And yeah, there's lots of exciting content to come. So it's going to be a mixture: Josh's car, this car, a little bit about my Megane, which I will feature in another video very soon, and also reviews on cars. So just general reviews, the VTS being the first of hopefully quite a few this year, and quite a few exciting different cars. As always guys, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully see you on the next video.